What's up, positive bitches? How are we doing today? If you are hearing this podcast, you are meant to be here, so keep listening. On that Bitches Positive podcast, sometimes we will laugh. Other times, baby girl, we're going to cry. But we will always walk away feeling our most empowered, positive bitch self. That is babe in true connection with herself. On this podcast, we unbecome who we are not so we can fully step into exactly who we came here to be. Today, we are discussing divine timing, how to develop patience, because a girl is doing it, let me just tell you. And ultimately, how to accept in the present moment so we can allow in rather than cause resistance to our blessings. Yeah, you actually can get everything you want and more. But you have to dwell within the energetic laws to unlock those doors. You have to understand the energetic laws in order for them to work for you. Otherwise, they use you instead of you using them. Before we get into it, a couple of announcements. Tomorrow, happy Halloween, by the way, but also tomorrow, 111 portal. My Art of Alchemy course is going to be released. You will learn how to get hotter from your hurt, how to get wealthier from your hurt, how to get healthier from your hurt. You will learn how to take your pain and transmute it into power, because really, people are going to hurt us, whatever, but we will be damned if we hurt ourselves. There are 8 parts to this course. Audio lessons, there are journal prompts, video lessons, affirmations, shamanic, somatic healing, everything you could need, a violet flame meditation, which is so powerful. Everything you could need and more is in this course. If you're tired of just feeling so down about your circumstance, you can actually use everything that's ever been sent your way to destroy you. You can use that energy to empower yourself and build the life of your dreams. If you're ready to quantum leap to that desired timeline, I am putting the link in the show notes. You guys have early access. If you want to join the Art of Alchemy, I highly suggest that you learn to activate your inner alchemist so you can transform your hurt into hotness, your pain into power, so you can build your desired reality simply because you can. You're going to learn about energetic laws such as the law of karma, polarity. I touch on soul contracts. I give you a channeled message I got specifically for this course. I am a master at transmuting my pain into power, and I will teach you how to do the same. If you're ready to embark on this journey, join the Art of Alchemy now. The link will be in the show notes. If you've not yet gotten your copy of Show Up As Her, sis, what are you doing? And last but not least, if you are interested in one-on-one coaching, you can DM me on Instagram now for more information. Now, let's get into today's episode because we have much to discuss. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll notice I'm wearing a heart cutout turtleneck. This is my reference to Sabrina Carpenter. I am Sabrina Carpenter for Halloween, and it's only right that I dress on theme for the Halloween episode as well. So that is why I'm wearing this. I hope you like it, and it also matches my book. Anyway, I want to open today's episode with Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to give you hope and a future. When we think about the divine, we think about God. God plans this whole entire universe so perfectly, so to the T. He crossed every T and dotted every I. The planets rotate a certain direction for a certain number of days. The sun rises and it falls. We have day and we have night. Seasons ebb and flow. There are so many rhythmic cycles that unfold naturally within the universe. I think when we think of nature, we think of everything being wild and random, but really, the nature of the universe is rhythmic and very organized and very in accordance to specific cycles. When we are to think about the natural world actually living in accordance to all these specific cycles, you want to try to then tell me that God didn't also prepare cycles for your life? You want to then tell me that the same God that created the sun and the moons and the seasons had all of this perfect vision for all these specific cycles, but then when it came to you, it was like, whatever, just throw them in there. See what happens. I don't know. To me, that doesn't make any sense. That God would be so specific. The sun must rise every single day. Then the moon is going to happen in this season and then this season. And then the planets are going to orbit in this direction for this amount of time. Does that make any sense to you? That God would be so specific about everything except for your life? The math is not mathing. The same God that created rhythmic cycles for the natural universe also created a rhythmic cycle for your life. And we can see this in astrology. There are certain themes that are going to come into your life at different periods or different ages. There are guidelines in astrology of what might be coming up for you at that time in your life. The same God that planned all these cycles also planned cycles for your life. Even if you don't know what those cycles are, even if you don't understand what's happening in your life right now, even if something is unconscious to you, does not mean that it's not real or existent. It means that you're not conscious of it. Even if we don't understand God's plan, this is a reminder that there is a plan, there is a cycle, and there are things unfolding for you in your life. Recently, both of my dogs, if you can believe it, they've never broken a bone in their body. Within 5 days of each other, they both tore their ACLs. And they, after their surgery, keep trying to run up the stairs, down the stairs, outside. And by the way, I just saw 111, new beginnings, new cycles, rebirth. Ooh, this is a good time to be alive. My dogs keep trying to run. And I have to stop them. I don't doubt that my dogs are frustrated with me because they want to run, they want to play, they want to go. But I know if they are to run, play, and go, they're going to hurt themselves. I don't doubt that my dogs are upset with me. They definitely are. They want freedom. They want to go outside, but I know if they go and chase a bunny, they might hurt themselves. So me being at a higher level of consciousness as a human being, knowing a fuller picture has to put a stop to it. I'm sure they feel rejected by me. Why isn't Cece letting me have fun? Why can't I do what I want to do? I'm sure they feel unloved. Maybe they feel isolated. But I know better as a human, and I'm going to protect them. Just as we have a higher consciousness than a dog does and have a better understanding, take it up a level. God is at a higher level of consciousness than we are. So there are going to be times when we're in a cycle and we feel rejected. We feel isolated. We feel terrible, alone, depressed. And we feel like, God, why aren't you letting me go outside? Why aren't you letting me run? Why aren't you letting me play? Why aren't you giving me the things that I want to do? And then there's this energy of higher consciousness that's saying, I'm trying to protect you. This is a cycle in your life that you need to go through, that you need to process, that you need to live through, that you need to learn from. So you have the strength for what I'm about to do next in your life. Sometimes we want to do things that are going to hurt us. And that higher level of consciousness that's not constricted in a human vessel understands the greater plan on our life and says, whoop, nope, boundary, gonna put a wall up there so that you can have more of what you desire at a better time. We sometimes desire things prematurely, and we try to control the cycle. We try to control the timing, but that's counterproductive. You can't force matter with matter. It's frequency over force. Yeah, you can try to beg people to love you. You can try to claw your way into other people's realities. However, what is that going to do? It frustrate you, and they're still going to leave, and they still are not going to want you, and they're still going to treat you negatively. There is no point in trying to force things that are simply meant to flow. The only result you will get is frustration because they're still going to do what they want to do. You can't force people. You can't force situations. We have to open ourselves up a little bit to recognize there is not only a plan, but a higher level of consciousness that is alert and aware of us and our path and is trying to guide us along this journey. What did we open up this podcast with? I have plans for you. Plans to give you hope and a future. The same cycles that are in the natural world, there's also cycles in your life. And you trying to fight against a cycle doesn't mean that the cycle is not going to unfold. It means you're just going to be frustrated and you're still going to have to go through the cycle. There is another quote from the Bible that I really like, and it doesn't matter if you don't read the Bible or that's not your preferred religious text, because whether you're reading it from the Bible or the Kabbalion, you can see this also in the law of rhythm. There's a flow, there's an ebb to everything, an up and a down. There's cycles to all. There is this one quote, though, that I really do love, and I want to read it. There's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. There is a time for everything. And just because you want it to be the time now doesn't mean it's going to be the time now. There will be a time. It just might not be right now. Last night I was at one of my energy classes and we were talking about the theme of love. And I asked this teacher, because they were saying that when two people are attracted towards one another, it's because the energy of love is drawing them towards one another. And that's why the way you breathe feels different. The way food tastes different. The way you perceive the world is just different. It's because love is alive and pulling you towards another person, and you can really feel that love frequency. And I said, okay, well, if that's the case, where does that love energy go when those two people break up? Or when the attraction fades, or when there's no longer that magnetic pull pulling them towards one another? And Anton said, the energy goes back to where it came from. It just recycles back into God is love energy. It just recycles back into God energy. It comes and it goes. It comes to connect two people for a time or a purpose. And then when that cycle or that time's over, they've learned their lessons, the karma's done, it goes back to where it came from. It's such an interesting way to think about relationships. Oh, I don't have to hate this person for not being my soulmate for the rest of my life. I can recognize that love has come and love has went. I can recognize that love brought us together to experience one another, to learn, to develop, to grow, to clear karma. And now that love is going away so I can go on my next adventure. Maybe I don't have to hate them. Maybe. Just maybe I can send them love and light. I can thank them for being a part of my journey, leading me into my next season, leading me into my next cycle. We gotta stop sending out so much freaking hate to everybody. And it's not even about them. Of course, that's God's child. Don't do that. But it's about you. Hello, have you heard about the law of karma? What you send out is what you're going to get back. You are cursing yourself every single time that you send out hate to your ex, because all that does, boomerang, comes right back to eat you up, to be a parasitic energy on your life. You don't realize how much hate you're sending out. But when you gossip with your friends, when you talk trash about that ex, you're sending out negativity. What you send on to your neighbor, it will come back to you. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Your words and your thoughts are vibrations. They are as real as any water bottle on your desk, and it will come back. Instead of seeing them as this evil entity, we see them as the child that didn't get enough love, didn't get enough hugs. They are limited, whatever it may be. Maybe it was a beautiful relationship and we can understand the love came and then it went. I think we really need to start looking at relationships under a different microscope, because the way we're doing it is not helping. We're actually just hurting each other and ourselves. What I've been reflecting a lot on is during these seasons of divine unfolding in our life, we are going to be what I would call caught in the middle. We're in the unknown. We're not in the beginning of the season or the cycle, but we're not in the completion of it. We're in this icky, sticky season where we have some information, but not all of it. And I think there's this urge to know what we don't know. I've actually come to quite enjoy the unknown. And instead of looking at the unknown from a fear mindset of what's going to happen, I look at it as I tap back into my inner child. When I used to look at the world with wonder and awe, that's how I see the world again now. Ooh, I have no idea what's going to happen. Ooh, this is exciting. Anything can happen. And I also don't think it's my responsibility to understand everything. You know, when someone starts acting weird in my life, I actually don't need to know why they're being inconsistent. I actually don't need to know why they're not being as kind to me or as cordial with me. Not my circus, not my monkey. If you want to act weird, go act weird, but I'm going to remove myself from this situation. I don't need to understand someone who does not understand themselves. Them acting weird, that action in itself is enough information for me to understand their place in my life and my role in theirs. And I'm not going to overplay my role. Do yourself a favor and see people for who they are, not who you wish them to be. Don't overplay your role and place them accordingly. I want us to dive a little bit deeper into energetic law and divine timing. Whatever we resist persists. If I keep resisting, I can't look at my patterns, the patterns are going to continuously be apparent in my life. If I resist reading the writing on the wall that this person actually is not good for me, I'm going to persistently get negative energy onto me, have negative action towards me. Forcing what won't work and trying to make it work, resisting the outcome that, I actually need to break up with this person, that does not help us, that hurts us. I have found that when we're in a rush, I have to find my next partner. I have to get married. I just went through a breakup and now I need someone new right now. It's because it's stemming from a lack mindset. Those who know that God is their supply is not in a rush. I went through a breakup. Well, God is my supply. I'll find someone else. This job didn't work out. Well, God is my supply. I'll find abundance another way. People who understand that everything comes from source, the abundance, the love, the joy, all of it, are not in a rush. And when you force yourself to try to enter a new season too soon or close a season before it's ready to be done with, you put yourself in a lack mindset. Mantra moment. Your new mantra is God is my supply. This takes lack out of your heart. This takes lack out of your mind. It doesn't allow for anxiety to grow when you know, I don't have to worry about anything. God is my supply. We're rushing because we think we have to do it alone. And we need to acknowledge the divine forces at play in our life that are guiding us through this whole entire lifetime, through every cycle and every season and every moment. Your new mantra is God is my supply. I don't need to worry about love because God is my supply. I don't need to worry about abundance because God is my supply. I don't need to worry about anything because God is my supply. When we're anxious or desperate, we start to create resistance and then we actually block what we're seeking. A calm, trusting energy will allow you to move through these cycles easier. Remember what I said before. You can try to force matter with matter, but it won't work. You'll just get frustrated and the cycle will still unfold exactly how it's meant to unfold. You want to ask yourself, Is there anything I can do to make my life easier? Because people, they might hurt us, but I'm going to be damned if I hurt myself, right? Is there something I could be doing that would make my life easier? Oh, here's an idea. Allow cycles to unfold naturally. Lean into the cycle instead of trying to fight against it. It would be like fighting water. Do you know how ridiculous you would look fighting water? Girl, please. The other day I was struggling, hardcore struggling, to open this protein powder. And I was twisting and twisting and twisting. I was sweating, honestly. I like my arms felt like they were going to fall off. I continuously tried for, I'm not even going to mention how long, okay? Because it was just me and this protein powder trying so hard to open it. And no matter how hard I twisted it, it would not come off. And finally, I thought to myself, wait a second, am I doing this wrong? Is there a different way I'm supposed to open this protein powder? I tried taking a wooden spoon and hitting it because that's what I saw my mom do growing up. I tried putting on hot water over the cap to twist it easier because I saw my mom also doing that. Took me a long time to realize it's not a twisting cap, it's a pop-off cap. And it has nothing to do with twisting. So, yeah. Anyway, in truth, from this situation, what I derived is that sometimes there's just a simpler way that we don't see or we don't understand. There's a simpler way that doesn't require so much effort. This container did not require me to sweat and feel like my limbs were going to fall off. It required a gentle pop to open it. Sometimes we are creating struggle and we're creating tension because we're trying too hard to force something rather than just letting it happen, rather than trusting the divine, rather than asking ourselves, wait a second, is there something I could be doing to make my life easier? The protein powder story mirrors how the universe often has a path of less resistance. Yeah. Often has a path of, oh, well, if you go down that way, you're going to run up against 15 roadblocks. So I actually am going to try to get you to go down this way because there's going to be less roadblocks, less chaos. You'll learn your lessons, you'll develop, you'll grow, but it will be in a way that's for your highest good. It will be in a way that you can also relax. What if we right now, right here, said, I'm going to open myself up to the possibility that the electromagnetic field I reside in might have a better path for me? What a concept! What a concept! I don't have to figure out everything myself. I can rely on divinity. What? I don't have to twist and twist and twist. I can actually just pop this thing off, be on my way. When we focus too intently on how something must happen, we risk missing the simpler path. You don't have to do everything alone. You're not meant to do everything alone. When the burden is too heavy to bear, it's because you're not meant to bear it alone. Hello, does anyone hear me out there? Sometimes, just sometimes, letting go of force and struggle, we discover an easier path. Wow, who knew? Our attachment to how something should happen blinds us to alternative paths, gentler ways forward that God might have in store for us. When we're so consumed, no, I must go out there and I must find my man at this bar and then I must make sure that he asks me out and I have to control everything in the circumstance. Whoa. Sit down, take a breath. You're not meant to control everything. And when you do, you oftentimes lead yourself down a path of more resistance, more struggle, more tension than actually just leaning into the cycle that wants to unfold for you. When you think about what you want, plug into the feeling of how it would be to have that thing. Plug into the why you want it, because it's going to lift me up, because it's going to make me feel happiness and joy and love. Do not obsess about the how. When you obsess about the how it's going to happen, you limit the availability to simpler paths. Think about when you go bowling. If you've ever gone bowling and you're like me, you need those bumpers up so that the ball doesn't go into the gutter. When you obsess about the how, it's like putting up those bumpers. You limit where the ball can go. You limit how many different paths you can take. You limit your expansion. I don't know if humans are just so consumed by their own being that we think that we are the greatest thing on God's green earth, that there could not possibly be any entity larger or greater than us. What's wrong with us? I can't even think about it because then I'm like, what planet is this? Why did I incarnate here? I can't go down that path right now. Let's just go down the path of least resistance for this podcast even, okay? I'm just going to keep going. I'm not going to... I feel my inner philosopher coming out, and I really just... We don't have time for that. Okay. So what's the cure to all this? Daily dose of divinity, period. Understanding divine timing kind of means you have to understand the divine, or at least try to. This is going to require a daily commitment to connecting to the divine. If you want to become more receptive to perceiving more paths, or if you want to become more receptive to a surrendered state, build a relationship with the divine. Talk to the divine. Now, I posted a story on my Instagram this week, and I showed Psalm 119. I encourage you to Google this. In Psalm 119, there are so many commands to God. In Psalms, you don't read it as them pleading with God. God, please, I'm a meek, mere mortal. God, please, I have nothing going for me. I need your help. That's not how they talk to God. No, in Psalms, they command God. They say, God, make me a table in front of my enemies. God, destroy my enemies. God, give me the strength. God, be my teacher. God, speak to me now. God, I want all the information and more. Let's go. In Psalms, that was the first time I really noticed how confident the people were when they were talking to God. They didn't plead with God. They praised God and commanded the divinity around them to act with them, for them. Whew, a concept. I remember I was driving in the car and I was crying about some guy. That will be in my next book. You can just assure yourself of that. I was crying about some guy, and then I felt this remorse wash over my body, and I have goosebumps now, and I go, whew, God, I am actually sorry. The fact that I was just trusting my limited human mind more than yours is quite literally crazy. That is a crazy thing to do. I cannot even fathom my own self right now. I had remorse because I forgot that God had a plan on my life. And I went from crying and pleading with God to praising God. God, thank you for giving me this circumstance so I can focus on someone who will be for me. God, thank you for removing this person from me and out of my life so that I can re-pour into myself, because clearly they were not having a good energetic effect on me. God, thank you. Oh my God, thank you for being there. Thank you for being divine force in my life. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for redirecting me. Thank you. Oh my God, I'm so silly for forgetting that you're there. I'm so silly to think that I'm here all alone. Of course you're there. Of course you're protecting me. I went from pleading with the divine to praising the divine and saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. And that was a moment that I was hysterically crying so deeply in pain. But I remembered. Perhaps all learning is remembering. I believe Aristotle said that. Anyway, the point here is that when you talk to God, how do you talk to the divine? How do you talk to God? It's not pleading, I'm a mere mortal. No, God, remove this thing from my heart. God, give me discernment. Give me eyes to see, ears to hear, and a heart full of discernment so I can see this situation clearly. God, remove this burden from my life. God, show me the job. Show me the relationship. Connect me with the right people at the right time. Command the divinity around you to collapse into the 3D, the timelines you want to experience, the people you want to meet, the opportunities that you want to see in your life. You need to take authority over your damn life. How do you take authority? Use your tongue. Hello. Use your voice. You're the only person with your specific frequency. Use it to command the energies around you. Set them into motion. Activate them. Confidence. Don't beg, state, command with confidence. Set it into motion. That is how you speak to the divine. That is how you get results from the divine. God, show me what I need to see. God, show me this person's true colors. God, I want what is best for me in this season. Show it to me. Let me feel it. Guide me towards it. God, allow me to want what you want for me. That one is a good one. There is something to be said about spiritual maturity and patience in this process. You need it. I am one that we know I said it before. I am not one to have patience, but that was the old CC. And now I'm the new and improved CC. And this CC girl, she has patience. Oh, yes, she does. I do. I'm developing patience and I actually feel better. I do. Let's talk about this. A good thing too soon ain't a blessing. Let's talk about this, shall we? A good thing too soon ain't a blessing. Nope, it can be considered a curse, but it's not a blessing. Imagine. Think about the young stars in Hollywood. Them getting all that fame and power too soon. Is that a good thing? With everything we're finding out about, I don't think so. Imagine you could drink alcohol at 6 years old. Is that a good thing? I don't really think so. Imagine you had to drive at 6 years old. Is that a good thing? I don't think so. Imagine you had to go to college at 6 years old. Is that a good thing? I don't think so. A good thing too soon is not a blessing, but it might just be a curse. Ooh, okay. We don't want what we're not meant to have in that season. Because there will be possibly karma we'll have to clean up later, but we won't be prepared for it. If you don't have something in your life just yet, it's because you're not ready to energetically hold it in your life. And if you were to get it now, then you would have to go through the pain of losing it. Do you want to do that? Of course not. The only reason, by the way, side note, that you would ever be given something that you're going to lose is if there's a lesson in there that you have come here to experience. But unless that's a part of your story, you're not going to get something too soon. So that relationship, that job, that career, that opportunity is not going to come in too soon. Because if it did, you might self-sabotage. You might not have the confidence. It might derail later destinies. Spiritual maturity and obedience to the divine goes hand in hand. I recently was reading Attainment of the Higher World by Rudolf Steiner, and I just want to read you some lines from his book that was really telling and really shifted something within me. He says, be content with the smaller attainment of knowledge. Surrender to definite thought. I must do certainly everything I can do for the training of my soul and spirit, but I shall wait patiently until higher powers shall have found me worthy of definite enlightenment. Patience has the effect of attraction. Impatience has the effect of repulsion. What this really opened up for me is that, wow, I've been so bratty thinking I'm ready for all this spiritual enlightenment right now and I don't get it. When really the divine, I have to build a relationship with the divine. Think about it. Would you trust a random person having keys to your house or your car? Of course not. You would have to get to know them. And once you got to know them, they would have more privileges. It's the same thing with the divine. If you want to increase intuition, psychic thought, psychic feeling, then you need to build a relationship with the divine. The divine has to trust you that with these channeled messages, you will do the right thing, that with this power, you will do the right thing. See the divine as a living, breathing being and build a relationship to it. That's what we need to do to date the divine, to spend time in meditation, to spend time reflecting on our own experiences, to create space between our initial reaction and the trigger and create a response. I am so grateful for every gift, for every knowledge, for every attainment that has been bestowed upon me. And when the right time comes, when I am perceived by the divine as ready for more, I will get that thing and I will be grateful. I'm grateful for what I have and I'm grateful for what I'm going to be given. And I'm grateful to be where I am. And this has allowed me to flow easier into the unknown, to be in the present moment, knowing that, well, this is where I'm meant to be. I'm at the right place at the right time. Patience having the effect of attraction. Even think about dating. When you're thinking, I need to have this person, I need them in my life, I need them to ask me out, you're sending so much energy and that repulses the other person because that is impatience. You need to have patience to allow the cycles to unfold in your life. I realized for a lot of my life, I was trying to force everyone on my timing. Well, they should be ready for a relationship with me because I'm ready for a relationship with them. Well, they should be further along in their spiritual journey because I am. That's not spiritually mature of me. No, it's not. And I cannot, and you cannot force people on your timeline. When you align with someone who's in a similar vibration and timeline as you, it feels like magic, and it is because you're literally on the same wavelength, and that's great. But it is not your job to rush other people or rush yourself. It is your job to relax into the universal flow of things. Ignoring the universal flow and timelines is impeding on other people's free will. That is not your job, and you're going to create negative karma that you'll have to deal with later. Take a step back. Enlightenment, intuition, spiritual downloads, all this takes persistence and patience. Persistent patience. That's what it is. I really have been leaning into, instead of wanting what I think I want, because my ceiling is God's floor, I want what God wants for me. That sounds pretty good. I'll order that. God doesn't want the reputation of a deadbeat dad. I heard that recently from a prophet, and I really just loved that. God does not want the reputation of a deadbeat dad. When you trust God, or at least become curious about the divine, when you open yourself up to what if there are spiritual beings that are helping me along this journey, the divine wants a good reputation. God wants to say, yeah, look what I did in her life. Look what I did in her life. You should try me out too. You should see what I can do in your life. I'm telling you, God does not want the reputation of a deadbeat father. He wants to show you the power, the energy he can place in your life. Invite him. Command him to be there, and he will. Replace your limited desire with what he knows from a higher level of consciousness is going to give you more joy, more love than maybe you ever could have conceived was even possible for you to have. I want to say one thing about the devil. Girl, the devil knows you, so you better get to know him, okay? The devil's unoriginal. The devil is not his own source, but created in the absence of light. This is why the devil never gives you new ideas, but can only tell you how the ideas you have already can potentially go wrong. This dark energy seeks to divert the plan. It exists to incite fear, cutting you off from source and swallowing you into the void. When doubt and insecurity pop up, put the devil on do not disturb. Some of us really need boundaries, not with our exes, but with the devil. Yeah. Why would you let these lower vibrational energies come into your temple and tell you who you are? Why would you let these lower vibrational energies that come through as thought of doubt, of insecurity, of fear, why are you letting these energies tell you who you are? Stop it. The devil knows you, so you better get to know him. You tell the devil who you are. That is not me, sir. No, thank you. I am powerful. I'm reliant on God. I am getting my power in a healthy way through source. and I'm focused. I'm commanding the divine around me to give me what it is that I truly desire and what is mine under my divine right. The devil's a liar, okay? So those negative thoughts and those fears and that insecurity, just be like, shut up, devil. Shut up. What do you know, you little liar, you little snake? When those negative thoughts come up, just ask yourself, would the divinity that is love and light speak to me like this? Would God tell me that I'm a stupid little person? I don't know where I was going with that, to be honest. Would God tell me that? Probably not. Probably not. That's either a lower vibrational entity or some weird energy I picked up from someone else or some weird limiting belief, but it is not God. And therefore, it is none of my business because I serve God, not the devil. If you want to serve the devil, listen to your negative thoughts. If you want to serve the devil, let your negative thoughts cap your potential. If you want to serve the devil, let the devil convince you of who you are instead of saying, no, I'm putting up boundaries. You serve God, not the devil. Philippians 1:16 says, God will complete the good work he began in us. So, those cycles we were talking about at the top of this podcast, the cycles that come in and out, the plans that have been bestowed on our life, guess what? They will be completed. You might not be in the completion, but you're also not where you were. So why not have a moment of appreciation? You know what? I'm not where I want to be, but I'm also not where I was. I'm in a new place. I'm in a different place. And I'm going to put God at the center of my life. I'm going to trust the process because if I don't trust the process, I'm still going to have to go through it. I'm just going to be frustrated and mad. So I might as well make my life easier and just trust. Or at least get to know God, test the electromagnetic field that's around me. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Test God, command God, and he'll show you who he is. There's a quote that says, the young trust and the wise test. The way I've gotten to know God is by testing him, dating the divine, speaking, meditating, reflecting. That is how I know God, not by just randomly trusting. The young trust, the wise test. Test, and you'll find that you end up trusting because you'll see the evidence in your life. I love you so much. I hope this podcast episode resonated with you. Join the Art of Alchemy if you're still here. It's definitely for you. I'm telling you, you will have transformation like you've never had in your whole entire life. I know what alchemy can do. I know the power you have within you. And I know that you are meant to be hearing this at this time in this season. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. The sparkle in me honors the sparkle in you. And I will see you in the next one. Mwah.